That stupid fucking mic, eh?
Floppy dink mic. Hey, listen to Commander Cookout Podcast, episode 54. I'm Brando. I'm here with Ryan, and today we continue the Arc of Opposition revisited with a combo list Is It deck. Now hit our theme song! Hey Ryan, we're back for yet another whirlwind adventure. How you doing?
Good. What's going down?
A whole ton is going down. We're going to continue our Arc of Opposition with a deck that I assume you had a great time making.
The Arc of Opposition, both the first one and this second one, are the most challenging arcs to do because we can't just go out and find the decks. They don't exist really, right?
We have to invent them.
We were talking before the show. I found this one. It actually was a listener submission that I had to tweak a bunch, and yours for next week is something that you built from the ground up, and it was totally sucked, right?
It hurt. I took physical damage building that deck. It was so hard. Have you ever tried, anybody out there, to build a green-black EDH deck as a dredge player and have zero things that interact with the graveyard?
Zero. And you play Dredge and Legacy, so that's your jam, right?
That's what I love to do. And it's not easy. There's one commander. There's one.
Spoiler for next week, I guess, as well. That's all we'll say.
Yes. We may or may not mention it at the bottom of the show, but for right now, that's all we'll say.
So I guess lube up your ear holes. This is the only time you're going to hear me talk about a combo-less Is It deck, and next week is the only time you're going to hear Brando talk about a non-graveyard Golgari deck.
Yes, it will never happen again. So mark this moment in time, and then next week's moment in time
Also mark our social media coordinates.
Oh, nice segue. I dig that. So we are Commander Cookout Podcast at gmail.com. That's where you can send any show suggestions, questions, comments. No nudes.
Funny story about nudes in a minute.
We're also Commander Cookout on the everything, really, now. YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Google Machine, edhrec.com, Patreon, and Podomatic, where we are desperately attempting to usurp the scrapbooking ladies and that other upstart Magic the Gathering podcast.
Worst ever.
Yes.
In the history of things that are bad.
And we're also CCO Podcast on Twitter and tappedout.net. Tappedout.net is where you can see this deck list and any of the other deck lists we have talked about on the show or will talk about on future shows.
Yeah, and Brando actually puts them all in their own individual folders per arc. So they're all organized into lists that belong together as per the shows.
Absolutely.
Shoutouts?
Shoutouts.
Ooh, how about this? Before we do, we had made some recent changes to our Patreon, and I don't want to turn this into a commercial, but I do want to say we're working on some, let's call them big things with some other non-CCO people. We'll leave it at that. But if you want to head over, we did add some goals for 50, 60, 75, 85, 100, and 125 patron levels. So when we hit those, we do something. We just unlocked the 40 patron openflippy.drinky infographic and rules, and people seem to like that because they were asking about it.
We got lots of feedback on that so far. Also, anybody who's tried the game and has obviously enjoyed the game, send your stories. We'd love to hear them.
For sure. And my favorite one, and it is the highest one because it's going to be the most time-consuming one at 125 patrons, it could mean additional CCO content.
Ooh.
Yeah, we would have a website theoretically by then. That's another one of the goals. And I don't know, maybe additional podcast content, maybe video content, maybe additional drinking game content. That's another one of the Patreon goals that we have.
And if there's anything we know a lot about, it's Magic drinking games.
Yes, and there would be an additional infographic or infographics to go along with that.
Yeah, if you think that OpenFlippy.Drinky is the only drinking Magic game that we've invented, you think wrong.
Atraxa Bowl in Vegas. CMDR Central, they accepted the challenge. They're going down.
Prepare to die.
Jumbo Commander on YouTube, going down.
Prepare to die.
Commander's Brew, you're going down too.
We've basically already killed you, so prepare to die.
Also, check out Commander's Brew, Battle of Brews, their new video content. They have a Kickstarter started. They changed the name of it recently because Commander's Brawl kind of pulled the rug out from under their feet. So check it out.
Yeah, I'll bet that's going to be good. Maybe we'll even be on it.
Ooh. Maybe I'll fly. I have a Toronto Blue Jays jersey on. Maybe I'll fly to Toronto, taking a game, and taking a Magic game.
Yeah, or maybe they'll record an episode in Vegas. Who knows?
Yeah.
Suggestion, guys.
Patreon shoutouts. First one. And sorry, we're going to butcher your name, even though you phonetically spelled it out for me. I'm still going to say it wrong. Akia Branvin Sionark? Akia Sionark? Sionark?
That's not what that word says, Ryan.
Funny
That's
nickname?
not what it says. Based on the letters in it, I'm going to go Achichichia Sinark.
Achichichichia.
Yeah. Everybody had those, right? The little moss-growing heads. There's Bob Ross's now. They're very popular.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah, grow your own afro on Bob Ross.
With plants.
Yeah, happy little plants.
I wonder when Canada legalizes it and in the states where it is legal or where it's not, you can get like little marijuana chia pets.
That smells so bad.
Next shout out, Andreas Schneider.
The Schneeb.
The Schneeb. I went to university with a guy with the last name Schneider, and we called him Schneebly.
And Schneebly is just whatever. So, the Schneeb.
The Schneeb. We had a nickname that sounds like the Schneeb stick.
Do tell.
If you remember the Deech,
The Deech.
I was thinking of Milan Lucic from the Oilers. It was on in the studio when we were recording, and we named a previous patron the Deech. He messaged us and is like, yeah, my whole playgroup calls me the Deech now. So maybe the Schneeb will stick too.
We're changing the world. I love that.
Yep. Andreas, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Third shout out, and I don't know if you know, and this ties into the story, when you say no nudes, I got nudes.
What?
I get nudes all the time. Different kinds of nudes. Sometimes they're noodles. Sometimes they're like different shades of makeup, like nude shade, or like there's a brand of makeup called Naked.
I didn't know that.
I've received these.
We've learned all kinds of things, yeah.
For the first time over Easter weekend, this a couple weeks ago, I got legit dick pics.
What?
Like giant ones.
What?
Yeah.
What? Somebody actually sent you pictures of cocks.
Big ones.
Wow.
So I got 2 emails in a row. Bang, bang. The first one, cocks. The second one was like a write-up and you were talking about the other couple shows ago, Kyla's favorite animal is the cat.
Yeah.
I get this email, and would Kyla wipe your butt? So this person emails me and is like, yeah, Kyla'd probably wipe Brando's butt if he was sick enough. Kyla's favorite animal is probably the horse, not the cat. I got these dick pics, and I was so flustered by the dick pics that I just responded like, hey, old man, blah, 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 right? Turns out it was Kyla, like your wife Kyla, messaged me these huge dick pics and then was like telling me all this really specific stuff, and I didn't even read the name on the email. So then she texts me, because this is over an email. She texts me and she's like, didn't you read the name? Didn't you get it? No, totally missed the boat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the boat.
The other thing, shout out to Kyla, because she actually became a patron.
Really? Oh, she didn't tell me.
No, she didn't. She wanted it to be a surprise on air. And I deleted it as soon as I seen the email come in. And I was like, oh, yeah, I don't want Brando to know, because he probably doesn't know.
No, I didn't know. Oh, that's so nice. Oh.
So she became a patron. Big shout out to Kyla.
Yep.
I'll leave any funny nicknaming up to you. You probably already have some kind of weird bedroom nicknames that I'm not even going to ask about.
I call her Beeb. Like B-E-E-B. Beeb.
Yeah. That'll do. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Leave it at that one.
So, Kyla, big thank you. I know that she listens.
Yep. Thanks to you and everybody else who's listening right now.
Going back to IKEA, coincidentally, the deck that we're using today is kind of one that he had sent me.
Really?
Yeah. So
Oh, that's handy.
it's just super handy, actually, because it was totally just out of the blue. I had to make a couple changes to it because it had some infinite combos, and this, as you guys know, is comboless, is it? So 4 or 5 cards that created infinite combos, took them out, added a couple lands because it kind of changed how much everything costed in the deck, blah, blah, blah. And now we have the deck that we're going to talk about today, Tibor and Lumina.
Tibor and Lumina sounds like a steaming pile of hot garbage, Ryan. Should we read what it does?
I think Tibor and Lumina is the least popular Izzet commander apart from the individual partners.
And they're really bad too. So let's see what they do. Tibor and Lumina is a human wizard, even though there's 2 of them. They are a 3/3 for 2 blue, red. Whenever you play a blue spell, target creature gains flying until end of turn. Whenever you play a red spell, Tibor and Lumina deal 1 damage to each creature without flying.
Okay, so blue spell means something gets flying. Fine. Red spell means 1 damage to everything.
So red spell means shitty earthquake. Blue spell means you don't get rocked by your own shitty earthquake.
Yeah, shitty earthquake because it doesn't hit players.
And it's for 1.
And it's for 1.
Yeah. Shitty magma quake. Now that doesn't hit planeswalkers. It's shitty anyway. It's shitty something, all right?
Okay, so how do we make this good? We'll probably be seeing a lot of instants and sorceries.
Most likely.
Maybe some things that give our own stuff flying automatically. So if we cast red spells, automatically all our stuff has flying so it doesn't get hit.
Good call.
Okay, moving into the recipe, 13 creatures.
That doesn't seem like very many. Let's see what we got.
We're going to kind of do quick hits, but I want to kind of spend some time on a couple creatures, and there's only 13 of them, so it won't actually take that long.
Okay, here we go. Blister Core Weird.
Blister Coil Weird is it like a red or a blue? 1/1. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, it gets +1/+1, and you can untap it.
Constipated Sphinx.
We all know Constipated Sphinx.
That works.
Blue 4/6 flyer. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you draw 2 cards. Really good.
Drift of Phantasms.
Honestly, I think that this is a 0/5 defender flyer, so it flies, right? For 3, but you pay 3 and transmute it, so you can find something else that costs 3.
So it's a tutor.
Essentially, yes.
Gelatrode.
Gelectrode, red, blue 1/01, tap to ping a creature or player, instant or sorcery, untaps it. So you can already see some tapping, untapping shenanigans.
Sounds pretty combo-y. Next up, we have Goblin Dark Dwellers.
Goblin Butthole Dwellers, as I call them.
Ooh.
4/4 menace for red 3. When it enters a battlefield, you get a 3 or less costing instant or sorcery from your graveyard into your hand. No, you cast it without paying its mana cost. Actually better.
Much better. Goblin Electromancer.
Ooh, here's the first of a couple spell-reducing things. He's red, blue, 2/2. Instant and sorcery spells you play cost 1 less to play.
Now we'll get into what this guy is all about later on. Goblin Sharpshooter.
Almost a combo piece. Kind of a combo piece, but
It's a
not
combo piece.
technically a combo piece. Red 2 doesn't untap, but when a creature dies, untap them. You tap them to ping for 1.
Gutter Snipe.
Gutter Snipe, one of the win conditions for the deck. 2/2 Goblin for red 2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, Gutter Snipe deals 2 damage to each opponent.
Also feels pretty combo-y. Let's keep going. Inferno Titan.
Inferno Titan. I would say that this is another win condition with another card in the deck that we'll talk about later on. 6 mana, 6/6, deals 3 as you choose to creatures or players when he enters the battlefield, and he has fire breathing.
Ixodron?
Yeah, right? Get this. Ixodron is blue 3 for a star. As Ixodron enters the battlefield, turn all other non-token creatures face down. So he turns them into 2/2 morph creatures. Ixodron's power and toughness are each equal to the number of face-down creatures you control. Tibor and Lumina...
Face-down creatures in play.
Oh yeah, sorry. Face-down creatures in play. Tibor and Lumina's deal 1 damage doesn't seem so bad now, especially when you see what all the instants and sorceries do.
But what happens if you flip Tibor and Lumina over with Ixodron?
Well, what are you, bad? You play Tibor and Lumina after you play Ixodron, and then you kill everything.
So for 17 mana, you can wipe the board.
We could change it to a combo deck.
That's true. I'm just going to play Chain Reaction, though. I'm just going to play Chain Reaction. Is it Chronarch?
2/2 for 5. When it enters the battlefield, instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand.
Thermo Alchemist.
Ooh, another almost combo piece. 0/3 Defender for red 1. Tap it, deals 1 damage to each opponent. When you cast an instant or sorcery, untap him.
He's a significantly better Gelectrode. More efficient Gelectrode. Wonder.
When Wonder's dead, all your creatures have flying. Super good with this deck.
That is all for creatures.
But you know what? Wonder itself has flying. So when you cast a red instant or sorcery, Tibor and Lumina doesn't actually kill it. So you have to have it die, or you have to kill it yourself.
Or you have to find a way of discarding it. I wonder if there's a way of doing that in red-blue. Probably not. Probably not. I can't think of anything.
Well, let's move on and see what else we have. 23 instants.
Ooh. Sounds like we're going to abuse our general's abilities. Maybe. You think?
Yes, some of them are red, some of them are blue. I think a good mix would both protect our creatures with flying or give them invasion.
Invasion?
Evasion. I always do that. Or the red ones just kill everything. Seems good.
All right. First instant is Cackling Counterpart.
Ooh, 3 mana, put a copy of something into play, flashback for 7.
Something you control. Very important.
Oh yeah, how about a Gutter Snipe? I'm fine with that.
Seems all right.
Yep.
Seems pretty combo-y. Capsize.
3 mana, bounce target permanent, buyback 3.
Clock Spinning.
Clock spinning.
What the hell is that? I know what it is. I'm just saying what the hell is that to set you up to tell me what it is.
Blue, put a counter on something that has a counter or remove a counter. Buyback 3.
Maybe we can use that later on. Cyclonic Rift.
Cyclonic Rift, bounce a thing or bounce all things.
Dizzy Spell.
1 mana, -3/-0, or transmute for a 1 mana thing.
Like Clock Spinning. Insidious Will.
Oh no, it's a modal card. Blue 2, choose 1, counter a spell, I know that's 1, or you may choose, I'm reading it now, you may choose new targets for target spell, or copy target instant or sorcery spell, you may choose new targets for the copy.
So it's a 4-mana instant that has a bunch of modes that all cost 2.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this because I'll pay a 2 mana premium to be able to choose my own adventure.
Good one.
Yeah.
2 mana is the cost of flexibility, it seems. How about Into the Core?
Brando likes this one. Red 2, exile 2 target artifacts.
In red, that's so good. Mana Drain.
Ooh. Blue, counter target spell, get mana in your next main phase equal to that spell's converted mana cost.
Where does the mana go? Yeah, that's what I thought. Mind Games.
Blue, tap target creature, artifact, or land. Buyback, Blue 2. I'm starting to notice a trend.
Me as well. How about Muddle the Mixture?
Blue, counter target instant or sorcery, transmute for Blue 1.
It's a tutor.
Yeah. Or a counter spell in this case, because Muddle the Mixture, I think you would Muddle the Mixture just as often as you would transmute Muddle the Mixture, depending on the deck that you're, like your opponent's decks. I think that's a fine one.
That's a fine one. I think that it turning into a mana drain and then you mana draining is just better, though. Yeah.
You can only transmute as a sorcery, though.
Well, just transmute as a sorcery then, and everybody knows you have a mana drain. You can be like, I'm giving everybody the finger. But you guys can't see that.
I saw it.
Yeah. You
I
know.
vouch.
Ooh, speaking of tutors, how about a mystical tutor?
Search your library for an instant or sorcery, reveal it, put it onto your library.
Pact of Negation.
Counter target spell for 0 mana.
Pull from Tomorrow.
Ooh, blue X, draw X, then discard a card. How about one of those flashback cards we talked about earlier? Not bad.
Yeah. You know, I actually really like the art on that card, too. It's like somebody's shooting some kind of weird arc lightning through a giant hourglass. It's pretty cool.
It's probably stupid Jace.
It looks kind of like a lady.
So Jace. Got there.
Reality Shift.
Ooh, I like this one. Blue Terror or something. Exile a creature, its controller manifests the top card of his or her library. That essentially means you take it from the top of your library, flip it face down. It's now a 2/2 that you could flip face up if it's a creature for its mana cost.
Yes.
So you're taking a big, you're making it into a small that could potentially be a big again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. How about Reiterate?
Red 1. Copy an instant or sorcery. You may choose new targets for the copy. Buyback 3.
Rewind.
I think that says remand.
Shut up. It actually does say remand. My eyes just aren't very good.
Counter target spell. If it's countered this way, put it on top instead, and then you draw a card for blue 1.
Okay. Searing Touch.
Ooh, I like this one. This seems like a very you card in Commander.
Ooh.
Red. Searing Touch deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Buyback 4.
Yeah. I do like that. Shattering Pulse.
Another Brando card. Destroy target artifact for red 1. Buyback 3.
Now that has cool art on it. It's like a little ball of lightning that's like bouncing down a field. It's so cool.
And it's shattering things as it hits them.
Yes, and I think that actually might be real art and not like... I'm not going to say digital art isn't real art, but it looks like something that somebody might have had a hand in. Physically.
A physical hand in.
Yes. How about Swan Song?
Counter target spell, and then its controller gets a 2/2 blue bird with flying for 1 mana. I like that one.
That's pretty good.
That's a 1 mana counter spell.
Trick Bind.
Ooh. Split second counter target activated or triggered ability. If it's a permanent ability, it can't be activated again that turn.
I like that card.
I like that card too. That card is, I think, criminally underplayed in blue control decks.
I think it's criminally underplayed everywhere. Unsubstantiate.
That's such an interesting thing. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. So it's kind of like a counterspell, but it also is a bounce spell.
It's kind of like janky remand and also janky boomerang. Kind of.
I suppose.
You know what I'm saying? So you can remand the spell back to somebody's hand, or you can bounce a bro.
Yeah, if it's already in play, you bounce it, and you don't get to draw a card like you would with remand, but it's easier to cast than boomerang.
Yeah.
So
I dig that.
okay.
Also, you got flexibility there. I dig that.
Yeah,
I
the
like that.
flexibility, but it's a distinct downgrade from other things, but you're getting a cost reduction for it without having that second blue.
So if somebody sneaks a creature in, just like maybe behind the chip bowl, F you Smitty, and then they attack you with it by bringing it around the chip bowl, thereby announcing its presence on the battlefield so you didn't have a chance to counter it because you're busy drinking your beer, you can still do something about it. I like this card.
Unsubstantiate. Yeah, that's an uncommon from Eldritch Moon.
Thanks, Wizards. I feel like they might have made that for people like me. I like that.
Okay, good.
That makes me feel good.
Now, rounding out the instant section, Whim of Volrath, blue, change the text of target permanent by replacing all instances of one color word or basic land type with another until end of turn. Buyback 2. I think buyback is what the important part of that card is, because you can continue to cast it for 3 mana.
I think in the previous iteration of this deck, what you would use this for is you would reduce the buyback cost to nothing, somehow make infinite blue mana, and then make it so that every, like, Tibor and Lumina, instead of saying red, said blue, and then every time you played this spell, you would also wrath the board out a little bit.
Oh, dang!
That's what I would do with it.
Yeah, you could just target Tibor and say blue, and then it wraths. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why that's in there.
Yeah, that's what I'd do with it. And then lastly, and probably leastly, let's be honest, Whispers of the Muse.
Blue, draw a card. Buyback, 5.
There it is.
Sorceries, 8. Now, because we've already identified the common theme here with the flashbacks and the buybacks, essentially what we're doing is recasting stuff that we've already casted or chaining things together. We're going to blow through the sorcery section. There's 8 of them.
Ancestral Vision.
0 casting cost. Blue, suspend 4, draw 3 cards.
Curse of the Swine.
Blue, X. Exile X target creatures. Those people get 2 green pigs.
Fabricate.
Tutor for an artifact for 3 mana. Put it into your hand.
Grape Shot.
Potential combo piece, but it's not. It's just value Grape Shot. Red 1 damage target creature or player. Storm, which means copy it for each other spell played before it this turn.
Haze of Rage.
Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Buyback 2 for red 1.
It's creatures. That's all creatures.
Creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn.
Can you imagine paying 4 mana to fire breathe somebody once? That's the worst.
But you fire breathe your whole team.
Well, yeah, but if it was only for one creature,
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be the worst.
Yeah, you're right.
Mystic Retrieval.
Return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Flashback red 2, and this one costs blue 3 to cast.
Mystic Speculation.
Ooh, I like this one. Blue mana, scry 3, buyback 2.
I like that card too.
Those buyback 2s are going to become very much more important as soon as we get to the artifact section.
Mystic Speculation also looks beautiful in foil.
Oh, yeah?
I happened to have a foil one back when I was buying Future Sight packs. It's very
Yeah,
nice.
it
It's got a
sounds-
sword on it. The
it's-
sword's real shiny.
And the sword is like stabbing into a pool of tentacles.
It's super neat.
Sounds like bad Japanese porn.
Don't Google that.
You do not.
Lastly, Seething Anger.
Target creature you control gets +3/+0 until end of turn. Buyback 3, and that costs red.
Neat.
I don't mind that. 4 mana to buff your dude 3 and deal 1 damage to all their guys. Let's jump right to artifacts because you're gonna see us pull it all together here.
Okay, so we got a whole pile of crap. So let's start here. Let's go. Remember when we talked about Goblin Sharpshooter earlier?
Yep.
Tap, deal 1 damage. Whenever something dies,
Untap
it. So how about we equip Goblin Sharpshooter with a little baby called Basilisk Collar.
Oh yeah, 1 to cast, 2 to equip. Equipped creature has Death Touch and Lifelink. So if Goblin Sharpshooter has Death Touch and he deals 1 damage to any creature, they'll die and he'll untap. So you can wipe the board constantly, and you're gaining life. So essentially, you equip it, you kill the board, gain life equal to how many creatures were in play. The same is true as if you cast or equip Basilisk Collar to Tibor and Lumina, then cast a red instant or sorcery. She deals 1 damage to everything. They all die. You gain that much life.
Now let me just touch on some art here for a second again, because we've been doing that. Given that we're a podcast that has no pictures, we're just going to describe this to you. The Basilisk collar is a collar on a dog. Now here's what this card should have had on it, okay? You know what a basilisk actually looks like? Like in real life?
It's got like big teeth.
Yeah, it's like a kind of an alligator lizard big thing stomping all around, looks at you, turns you to stone. Okay?
Yep.
That's what it looks like. Now here's what it should have been. It should have been a bunch of basilisks sitting at a table playing cards. And then one of the basilisks is actually just an alligator wearing a collar that's designed to look like the thrills on a basilisk, and he's kind of dressed like a douche bro. And he's like clearly hammered, and everybody else is so sad that he's there, but he's just trying so hard they feel bad kicking him out.
He's the alligator among basilisks, and he's trying to dress the same.
Yeah. I just think that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, moving along. We got Codex Shredder.
So here's another one. You're going to have to tell me what this card's doing in the deck. So it's a 1-drop artifact. Tap. Target player puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard, and you can pay 5, tap, sack it, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. I think just like the Grape Shot, it's in there for strict value. If there is, let's say, Reiterate, copy a spell with buyback. Well, if you needed to value Reiterate or just value Cyclonic Rift is another one to bounce one thing, you want to get it back late game, you can cast your Reiterate on something bigger, or your Cyclonic Rift can be overloaded to bounce everything.
Yeah.
I think that it's fine to do that. That's like a value Yawgmoth's Will as well. You just want it to, you Yawgmoth's Will like turn 3 so you can get your third land or your fourth land drop or whatever from your fetch land in your graveyard. I think that's okay, right?
Yeah, that's fine. I think that works good. That's I can see that being a thing.
Okay.
Get at us, Chia. Let us know. Next up, Crystal Chimes.
3-drop artifact, 3, tap, sack, return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to your hand. And we're going to talk about the enchantments in a second.
There are some cool ones. Grafted Exoskeleton.
Extremely good with, of course, T-Born Lumina, because it gives her infect, and she'll just wither away all the creatures if one damage doesn't kill them. But also super good with Consecrated Sphinx, because he flies natively. Blister Coil Weird, because he can get big by buybacking all of your spells over and over and over, and then you just infect one hit. Or my personal favorite with Inferno Titan, because he fire breathes. He comes down, you equip him, wait for an opening, or just make an opening because you're playing removal and bounce and your general kills things. Boom, 1-hit kill because fire breathing.
Nice.
You'd only have to fire breathe for 2 because Grafted Exoskeleton equips, gives +2/+2 and infect, and he's already a 6/6.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
I hate this card. Helm of Awakening.
2 mana. All spells cost 1 generic less to cast, to play, in your words.
That's the correct words, Ryan. Izzet Signet.
Is a signet for Izzet colors.
Lightning Greaves.
0 to equip, 2 mana equipment, shroud, and haste.
Sol Ring.
It's a Sol Ring.
And this one I think is very important, and everybody's going to kind of go, that's what they're doing. Memory Crystal.
Memory Crystal is a rare from Exodus for 3 mana. All buyback costs are reduced by 2 generic mana.
And unlike a lot of these things, say like the activated ability, like a Hearthstone, activated abilities of creatures cost 1 less to play, but can't be reduced to less than 1. None of that bullshit here.
If it has buyback 2, it's now free.
Yes, you can just play it and put it back in your hand.
If you have plenty of blue, you can just go scry 3, buyback for free. Scry 3, buyback for 3. And filter and filter and filter and filter and filter till you find, I don't know, your Basilisk Collar or your Grafted Exoskeleton.
Yeah.
And then you draw a card and buy it back for cheap.
For 1. Or 2, I guess it would be. Or no, I guess it would be to be 4. Still 4.
4.
Well, because it costs 6 to buy it back. The buyback was 5, wasn't it? It was the buyback 4. Let's go look.
On Whisper of the Muse, buyback is 5.
Yeah, so it would cost 4. That's not super cheap.
It costs 4 all in, yeah, because you got to pay the 1 and then you got to pay 3 more.
There's probably better ways of doing that. We can talk about that later.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Enchantment time.
Now, we talked about enchantments. There was what was it, Crystal Chimes or whatever, that gets your enchantments back from your graveyard to your hand. Sorry. First one, Arcane Melee.
What does that do? It makes your instant and sorcery spells cost 2 less to cast.
So another cost reducer. That's the third one.
So would Arcane Melee then reduce the buyback cost of spells?
It would, because it's a cost reducer, and those are applied after additional costs like buyback.
Good to note. When does Trinisphere come in there? Now that we're talking complicated crap, let's just go there.
During the Trinisphere step.
There's a Trinisphere
which
step.
is last, which is a cost modifier. It changes how much it costs.
If you don't know what Trinisphere does, don't even bother Googling that.
Do not Google that.
I'll explain it to you when I blow up your land in my Ponza deck. Yes. Next up in enchantments, as foretold.
Blue 2, at the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on as foretold. Then, once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast with converted mana cost X or less, where X is the number of time counters on as foretold.
Now, does that work with buyback?
As far as I know, based on what we just talked about, as foretold is a additional modifier. So it makes it so a spell costs 0. Right. So if you have clock spinning or that other one that costs 1 with a buyback of 2, and you have 1 counter on as foretold, you cast it for free, and then you can pay the buyback to get it back.
But if you have Memory Crystal, you would then just clock spin for free.
Correct. Because as foretold lets you cast it for 0. Memory Crystal lets you flash it back for -2, which is what the buyback is. You get it back. You can do that once per turn.
So now if you were doing something big and ridiculous, which is what I would probably do in a deck like this, I would clock spin counters onto my as foretold. Yeah.
Ooh, you could clock spin counters onto the planeswalkers that are in the deck as well. We'll get to those in a second.
Yes. Next enchantment, Old AF in Gravity Sphere.
Gravity Sphere. All creatures lose flying, and that's red 2.
Yikes.
So your opponent's flyers that were going to fly over the Tibor and Lumina, deal 1 damage to all non-flyers, don't anymore.
Now let's do more rules nightmare stuff.
Okay.
What order do you have to play this and a Chroma's Memorial so that your stuff still has flying and theirs doesn't? Because you have one thing that says all your creatures fly, and you have another thing that says no creatures fly.
In this case, you would want to cast and have in play, like you would need to resolve your Gravity Sphere, all creatures lose flying, and then your Akroma's Memorial to give your creatures flying.
Boom.
And that is also how Tibor and Lumina's blue ability to give target creature you control flying would work as well.
Nice.
So if you gave one of your guys flying and then cast Gravity Sphere, they would lose flying.
Yes.
And your guy would eat a bag of dicks. Get Basilisk Collar, bitch.
How about Mystic Remora?
Ooh, another Brando card. You like this one.
I love this card.
1 blue, or like blue, for cumulative upkeep 1. You could actually take time counters off of cumulative upkeep with
Clock
spinning with buyback.
Yeah.
So you'd never have to pay for this card. Cumulative upkeep, during your upkeep, you put a counter on it, and then you pay its cumulative upkeep cost for each counter that's on it. In this case, it's just 1 generic mana. What it says is, whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, you draw a card unless that player pays 4.
4!
It's like the deranged kind of brother of
Rhystic Study?
Rhystic Study, that's right. It does kind of the same thing. When they cast something, they let you draw a card if they don't pay 1. This is they don't pay 4, you draw a card, but it has to be a non-creature, which is fine if you drop this on turn 1.
Yeah.
Because everybody's playing like Soul Rings and Mana Rocks and shit, and you're just going to draw cards, right?
Exactly.
I like
come
that
back with a full grip and then some. Next up, Quiet Contemplation.
Blue 2, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay 1. If you do, tap target creature and opponent controls, and it doesn't untap during the controller's next untap step.
You can Frost Titan things.
Yeah,
That's neat.
if you pay an additional 1.
We just talked about this one, Rhystic Study.
Blue 2, whenever an opponent casts a spell, draw a card unless they pay 1.
My favorite Rhystic card, my favorite one, Rhystic Cave.
Is that the one that gives you Wooburg unless they pay 1?
It gives you 1 mana of any color unless somebody pays 1. So it's like super shitty Rishadan port. I love that card. I love it. I have like 6. How about Trail of Evidence?
Ooh. Blue 2, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, and you know by this point you're going to be doing that lots, you can investigate. And what that means is you put an artifact clue into play, and the clue has the ability to sack, draw a card.
Pretty cool.
So if you can cast over and over and over and over and over and over again, you get lots of clues.
Another card that looks great in foil. Also, good to note. Want to
Okay.
talk Planeswalkers?
Planeswalkers. I'll let you read them because they're kind of your thing. Dak Faden.
Dak Faden is a 3 loyalty planeswalker for 1 blue-red, and he, +1 loyalty counter, target player draws 2 cards, then discards 2 cards. That'd be good for Wonder. -2, gain control of target artifact. -6, you get an emblem that says whenever you cast a spell that targets 1 or more permanents, gain control of those permanents. Nice. And up next we have Ral Zarek. He is a 4 loyalty planeswalker for 4. +1, tap target permanent, then untap another target permanent. -2, Ral Zarek deals 3 damage to target creature or player. -7, flip 5 coins. Take an extra turn after this one for each coin that comes up heads. Yeah.
Okay, I like the card drawing. I like the tapping. Both very control-y. And like you said, Dak Faden works good with Wonder and also with your flashback things.
Hey, yeah.
And you've got Is It Chronarch and that other one that lets you get an instant or sorcery back from your and Goblin Dark Dwellers.
You can kind of get your stuff back.
Yeah, you got 2 or 3 kind of regrowth effects. So that's okay.
I dig that, yeah.
Just quickly, a couple of the other stats that we track that aren't really card types or whatever. We've got 10 card draw spells, including Trail of Evidence. That's the one that gives you clues that you can sacrifice to draw cards.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Mystic Speculation. That's the one that scries 3 with buyback 2. Not technically a card draw spell, but people say that scrying is worth maybe a third of a card. So if you could scry 3, is that a card draw? If you can flash that back and scry 6 or 9 in a turn, you're not drawing anything, but it lets you find stuff that you want.
It
right?
gives you that same kind of dig action. So I would, sure, that can be a card draw spell.
Yeah, we can count it. So that's like 11 card draws. Targeted removal. Now, I'm including, of course, Cyclonic Rift because you can target with it, and I'm not including counter spells.
Excellent.
There's a separate category for that, of course. 13 of them. Mass removals, 5. Does Tibor and Lumina count in that conversation?
I think so.
I think so. If you're flashing back your red spells with your memory crystal, or if you have your if you've tutored for Basilisk Collar, and remember that's a 1-drop, and you've got 1-drop cards with transmute that you can find it. I think Tibor and Lumina counts, so that's like 6 or mass removals. As foretold, does that count as a ramp spell? Because it lets you cast stuff for free, or theoretically sooner than you would maybe want to or be able to.
I think it's too slow to be considered a ramp card.
Okay.
I would say.
So really kind of one ramp spell. And it should be noted that in the original list here, I did take out a Seething Song.
Yes.
That instant? Red 2 gives you 5 red.
I think it's sorcery. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, it's a spell.
It deals 1 damage and gives you 5 mana.
Does no damage and gives you 5 mana.
Well, with Tibor and Lumina, it deals 1 damage and gives you 5 mana to cast more spells that theoretically do more damage. So I can see why it's in there. And it was part of like an infinite combo when you could get it back from your graveyard with buying back Reiterate.
That'd be so nice to be able to just
You net mana every time.
put things in the graveyard. I'm a little triggered right now, I'm not going to lie.
I'm a little bit triggered too. Like this Is It deck with 0 combos hurts my brain more than just comboing.
And it feels kind of like it's comboing anyway.
Goddamn Is It, right?
Yeah.
Stupid idiots. Okay, Mana Rocks and Dorks. We've got Sol Ring, Helm of Awakening, Is It Signet, Memory Crystal, I'm counting that as a Mana Rock for sure, and Electromancer. That guy reduces costs.
So would you also include Helm of Awakening? And...
Oh, I did. You could also include, there's more if you include Arcane Melee, because that reduces costs. That's like 6 right there.
It's quite a few.
Buyback spells, 11. Flashback spells, 2. Transmute spells. So those are spells that just give you flexibility, right? They do something or they tutor.
And will often turn into one of your buyback spells, probably.
Yeah. Modal / overload spells. Spells that give you additional choices over and above the transmute guys. There's 2 of those and 2 planeswalkers. So the deck is very versatile. It can do whatever you want whenever you kind of want it to, without infinite mana.
I dig that.
And that goes right into kind of how to play the deck, right? Lots of 1-drops, but you don't want to play them on turn 1. What you probably want to do is leave mana up until the last possible moment and then do something with buyback to get Tibor and Lumina, like a trigger on Tibor and Lumina, right?
Yeah.
It's not so much you're trying to do as fast as you can. It's more draw, go, traditional control, leave mana up all the time because you're running lots of counter spells.
Yeah, and the with Tibor and Lumina, you do always have that option where you're going to be able to kind of start a little bit slower, but you could probably just use Tibor and Lumina to negate their early game. Because you're going to get their dorks, you're going to get their small stuff, you're going to wipe out their tokens.
With all 4-drop commanders as well, I always say, I think if you're building around your commander like this one kind of is, I know I said it's like a traditional control deck, so it is going to take some time to stabilize against the aggro deck and then kind of wreck their day in the late game. But honestly, Sol Ring 1, Tibor and Lumina on turn 2 may be your best play, because on turn anything after 2, you're going to have untapped reds to start killing their guys.
I would say probably save it for turn 3.
You think?
I would think so, yeah. Just to keep her from getting owned before you get a chance to use her.
I suppose.
Because at least then if you play her with a mana up, you can, at least if they respond by killing her, pathing her, whatever.
You can get their dork by saying, whatever.
Yeah, you get one trigger at least just to say that you didn't just burn 4 mana and they look like a chump. Nothing's worse than looking like a chump.
I suppose.
Yeah. Except being Jesse. F you, Jesse.
Okay, turn 2. If you're not casting Tibor and Lumina, 17 2-drops. Now, most of them are instants and sorceries, but there are 5 legit turn 2s that you'd want. And on turn 3, that's like your come alive turn, right? That's when you're playing your planeswalkers, your enchantments. That's when you're starting to transmute your hand into your setup to win. Right, that's when you're finding your Basilisk Caller or your Goblin Sharpshooter or your what's the other one? The Infect.
Grafted Wargear?
Grafted Exoskeleton.
There we go.
Turn 4, Grafted Exoskeleton for sure. Like, I think that's I don't want to call it the card of the week because it's a super common card, but I think that card's an all-star in this deck. That and Basilisk Caller, big time. Turn 5 plus, late game, Value Town for days, because you're going to find. Eventually, you're going to find your memory crystal, and then it's straight value, always full hand, always have an answer for something. And your answer, not only does it answer, but it also makes it so you can come in with a flying beater or wipe the board.
Yeah.
I think this deck's got a really good late game.
As it should, because it's not a combo deck.
Yeah, combo decks. What is a late game? That's what the combo deck asks, right?
Exactly. Like, I'm at turn 7? Well, I guess I must have lost. I guess I must just be sitting here while you guys are playing turn 7 because I have lost.
Okay, let's move into strengths and weaknesses real fast because we already kind of covered some of them. Controlling, super awesome late game. Lots of options that people won't usually expect, right? Like, who plays a 1-drop instant that scries 3?
I play it in Azuz, the Shifting Flame. I play it in that. And you know why? It lets me draw a new hand and then scry 3.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
You played in any other decks, and or have you ever seen it played in any other decks?
Absolutely not.
Excellent. That's the kind of card we like. I just gave the Don Cherry thumbs up. I didn't even mean to. Okay, uncommon, right? We talked about it being fairly far down, 12th on the list of Is It Commanders on EDHREC.com.
And nobody's going to see this one coming.
Cheats out wins with Infect without being a combo deck. I guess that's kind of how you have to cheat out wins if you're not a combo deck.
Yes.
Infect gives you business winning games that you would otherwise have no business winning.
Correct, and that's why everybody loves it so much.
Funny joke. I don't get sarcasm, but I got that one. Okay, weaknesses. Went to EDHREC.com, found Tibor and Lumina, and scrolled down the list and was like, oh yeah, that goes in, that goes in, that goes in, oh, there's the deck.
Another weakness of this deck is it's full of hot garbage. If you don't have reduced cost on your spells, all of your spells suck. If they get your Memory Crystal, if they get your Grand Melee, your spells suck. All of them suck, and they will always suck. And you're going to have a lot less action when you suck.
The politically correct notes that I wrote say something similar to the tune of small effects and tutors want to combo so bad, but they don't, because this is comboless, is it?
Yes.
Also, it still runs a hefty price tag regardless of jamming tons of jank-ass shit. Yeah. This deck is still expensive. What the hell? Speaking of which, it's almost $500.
That's like 18,000 Canadian dollars.
That's like as much as a house in Newfoundland.
Yeah. You could buy a house or you could buy this pile of garbage.
All right. right.
Now, if you've been playing a long time, odds are you probably have most of it. But if you don't have a gravity sphere, you know how much gravity sphere costs? Like $50.
Yep. Let's go into the budget section here. Ancestral Visions. That's the one that suspends, then draws you 3. $20. Could be a Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain, Treasure Cruise. Those are all affordable. I think Brainstorm's the most expensive at like $2.50 or $3. But, I mean...
It does give a kind of unique effect, but, you know...
I mean, you're not running any Cascade cards to cast it for free. You got to wait for it. I mean, you could just cast Brainstorm and you can get to sculpt your hand a little bit better. This deck does want that.
Yes, it does.
It does want that.
It has ways to draw like 17 cards a turn. Just do that.
I suppose. Mana Drain, $60. Play Counterspell. Pick your 1, your 2, your 3-drop Counterspell for less money.
Play like, how about Mana Leak?
God, I hate that spell. F you, Smitty. Fuming.
There's steam coming out of his ears. It's quite funny.
Moving on. Scalding Tarn. I don't think that this deck needs a fetch land. It's a 2-color deck. Does it make the deck better? Yes, but does it need it when you're not doing your turn 1, turn 2 combo thing? Play a slow fetch for free and save yourself the $76 that Scalding Tarn costs.
Agreed. There are lots of better... You could just play a Terramorphic Expanse. It's not going to slow you down that much.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. You could play my new favorite land-getting spell that's just been released in 8... 25,
A25,
whatever the hell it is, Myriad Landscape.
There you go.
Yeah, I picked up a foil one in
Ooh.
Edmonton from a store that you told me about. Quick shout out to them, Taps for Effect Games in Edmonton, Alberta. The guys there are super nice. They got a great little store going on there. Super cool. Got some great stuff from them.
Next card, Academy Runes, $23. You could play Argivian Restoration for 29 cents. Returns an artifact from your graveyard to the battlefield for blue 2. It's a sorcery.
I like that.
Plays right into the sorcery theme, right?
Yeah.
And saves you $23. If you're counting, we've now saved over $180 from this deck in like the first couple cards.
How about the Gravity Sphere? Have we cut that yet?
Next card, Gravity Sphere.
There we go.
$50. That's up to, what are we at now? $230 off this deck.
Yep.
You could play Archetype of Imagination. Now, I know it costs blue $100 to play, but it's a flying creature and it gives your other creatures flying, boom, straight out. Your opponent's creatures lose flying, straight up. So it already does what you want it to do. It's a beater.
It costs a little bit more, but it also costs a lot less.
That. The last thing that I want to say about the budget for this deck is it wants all of the little draws or discards or things like faithless looting. It's got flashback, lets you draw. It's a red instant or sorcery, but God, you don't want it to just be the stock T-Born Lumina list because this is the kind of niche commander that makes it very kind of easy to build around. If you go to edhrec.com, you're just going to do what I did and say, yep, that's the deck.
For the sake of our show, going back to our very, very first episode, it's the Zada effect.
Ooh, yeah.
There's only so many cards that work with this commander, so you kind of have to play all of them, or you're not really... You might as well just play a different general.
Yeah, it's crammed full, like the stock list is crammed full of red and blue instants and sorceries.
Yeah.
Pretty good way to play it. Okay, before Milk List, any other possible includes? What do you think?
Yes. When we decided we were going to do this, we split up the remaining 4 deck lists. You took this one and another one. I took Golgari and another one. And then we just went off to our own separate ways and built new decks. And I was really hoping that you were going to play an Izzet deck that was focused on Mind Rack Liege. You know Mind Rack Liege? It's like I think it's a 4/4. I think it costs 6, but it gives blue creatures +1, your blue guys +1/+1, your red guys +1/+1.
Liege from like Morningtide or whatever.
Yeah, and it has Izzet. Put a red or blue creature from your hand into play, and the rest of the deck is just beaters.
Oh, like Leviathans.
Yes.
That could have been a sea monster deck.
This could have been the deck where we finally just broke Leviathan wide open.
Man, I love breaking Leviathan.
It's like, oh, this thing costs 10? Nope, 4. And I realized that the whole deck relies on something that is in the deck somewhere, so you have to play all these tutors, because red and blue have so many tutors that find creatures, to find this creature, so you can play other giant creatures. Not that it was going to be so cool. And then I saw this, no Mind Rack Legion site. I'm a little sad.
Sorry to disappoint.
We could still add it, though. instead of Gravity Sphere.
I was just going to say, it plays Gravity Sphere.
Yeah, you get
And then
gutter,
you're like, no, got it. Shit.
you get Gutter Snipe at a discount and instant speed. It's actually not a discount. It's premium because it costs more. Because it costs 4, but it's an instant speed. We already talked about the price of flexibility, Ryan. We've already talked about it.
Very good segue. Yeah, you must be in radio or something. Milk list?
Speaking of segues, how about instead of that, we go to Card of the Week.
What are you thinking this week?
I think this week we go Thermo Alchemist.
Give it a read again.
Thermo Alchemist is a creature, human shaman with defender, and has tap. Thermo Alchemist deals 1 damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast an integer sorcery spell, untap Thermo Alchemist.
2 things there. Each and whenever. So in a Spellslinger deck like this, or not, like you're just casting your removal spells or your ramp spells. If you're not playing blue, you could be playing green, red, and still run this guy. He's 20 cents, and in a 4-player game, if you can get 4 or 5 activations out of this, nobody's going to kill him, right?
No.
No.
Nobody's going to waste a removal spell on a piece of crap like this.
End of turn, 1 to everybody. That's 3 damage he dealt. Cast your ramp spell. Do it again. That's 6. Cast another spell. Do it again. Right? Next turn, do it again, do it again. Like you've done 12, 15, 18 with 1 guy.
And he's one of those dudes, again, he flies under the radar. And it's just kind of annoying. You know what I mean? Like an Impact Tremors.
Yeah.
Like you're playing something with an Impact Tremors and you're just like, you keep kind of looking down at your dice like, holy crap, I'm at 13.
Exactly. And you know what? I like Thermo Alchemist. I don't play him in Rakdos, Lord of Riots, but Rakdos, Lord of Riots players know what I'm talking about when I say Pulse Tracker. So Pulse Tracker is a 1/1 when you attack with him. He deals 1 damage to everybody, and then he's like a 1/1, right?
Yeah.
Rakdos players know Pulse Tracker, and they know that he's going to get tons of extra damage because people are going to save their removal up for their fatties, for your fatties, that you cast for free off of Rakdos. So nobody's going to kill your Pulse Tracker. Thermo Alchemist is kind of like that.
It's kind of like a sweet red herring.
Yeah.
Where like they think, they don't realize that what you're actually doing is actually creating like 5 damage a turn because they think what you're doing is trying to reduce the cost of your great big fatties, and that's your only game plan.
Yeah, and in this particular deck, this Tibor and Lumina deck, they're going to save up for your Blister Coil Weird, or for Tibor and Lumina or Consecrated Sphinx. They're going to save their removal while you're eking out, let's call it, air quotes, 1 point of damage from your Thermo Alchemist, when really it's like 10 a turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
also,
that guy.
and then you can do that 10 a turn 5-6 times.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good card. Pick 'em
Okay.
up, 20 cents.
Milk list?
Everybody loves the milk list.
So the milk list, as per EDHREC.com, is the most commonly played cards in any color pairing at each converted mana cost.
Right.
In red-blue, we go from 0 to 16. The 0-drop slot, Everflowing Chalice. Are we
Yes.
playing it?
We are not.
1-drop slot, Soul Ring.
Yes.
Of course we are. Is it Signet at 2?
Yep.
Counterflux at 3.
No.
That's one of those red-blue instants I was telling you about. Factor Fiction at 4.
No.
Gilded Lotus at 5.
Nope.
Charmbreaker Devils at 6.
Nope.
Fire Mind's Foresight, another red-blue instant and tutor, at 7.
Nope.
That's a good one. Treasure Cruise at 8, one that I recommended.
Nope.
Treasure Cruise actually costs 1, but costs 8.
Not when your spells aren't going to the graveyard.
Ooh, I suppose. Or if they have flashback.
You can't be removing them then.
I suppose. Blasphemous Act at 9.
Nope.
Probably don't need it in this deck, eh?
Nope.
Omniscience at 10.
Nope.
That'd be a good one in this deck if you had the mana to pay it. It costs like 100 mana. Or 10.
Yeah, it costs 10. It's kind of a win more card at that point, I think.
I think it's a win more card. Yeah, that's right. Temporal Trespass at 11.
Nope.
That's the flashback, that's the delve, take an extra turn card.
Still doesn't play it.
No. Enter the Infinite at 12.
Nope.
Emrakul Promised End.
Nope.
Dinkmouth Infusion at 14.
Still haven't found a home for that one.
No. Emrakul Eon's Torn at 15.
Nope.
Draco at 16.
Nope.
2 Milk List matches.
Good on you, Chia.
And me.
And Ryan.
Woo! Hooray! 2 Milk List matches. Okay. Now, the other metric by which we judge the spiciness of our deck is the Spice Calculator. Now, we had mentioned earlier in the show, 12th most common Izzet Commander on EDHREC.com with 145 lists. Not very many.
Yeah, and she's, like you say, she's only above Ludovic Necro Alchemist and Kurumi Ludovic's Opus, and they are both tragically awful.
When you put them together, they're pretty okay.
Yes, but
Yeah.
apart, they suck.
Average converted mana cost. Now I like this one. 2.53.
That is
super
intense.
low.
It's a lie, though.
It kind of is because you're paying buyback, right?
Yes, you're
In-
paying buyback. So your 3 mana cost things cost 6, and your 1 mana cost things cost 6.
Until they don't.
Yes, until they don't.
Or here's the other thing, your higher mana cost things cost lower to transmute. No, vice versa, because you're playing 2-drop things that cost 3 to transmute.
Right.
So it's definitely a lie, yeah, for sure. And your flashback things cost more and stuff, but still cheap if you're just getting them for value. Like
Correct.
sometimes you have to do, right?
That's right.
Critical turn 5. We talked about playing Tibor and Lumina out on turn 2 or 3. If you can get a tutor on the turn after, and you tutor for Grafted Exoskeleton or Basilisk Collar, that's a hard game to win if that happens on turn 4 or 5.
Yes.
So I said critical turn 5 because I think it's not uncommon for that exact sequence of plays to happen.
Wouldn't be hard. Would not be hard at all.
Very excellent. Optimal game size 4. The more players you have to try and control, and the more players you have to try and kill creatures by dealing 1 damage to, the worse this deck gets, I think.
Yes, eventually you're going to have somebody that runs a bunch of beaters, and you don't have your Basilisk Collar, and you're going to have a problem. Yeah, like Angry Omnath would not be a good match for this deck.
The other thing that we look at is the number of tutors. And the original list has 5 tutors in it, and I kept all 5, but I think if we're not trying to combo out ASAP like the original list is, we could cut those tutors. Namely, the transmute cards, because that's 3 mana to tutor for something. Something with a specific mana cost, as opposed to just getting anything.
Correct. I mean, what you're getting, of course, is usually Basilisk Collar, Grafted
suppose,
Exoskeleton, da-da-da-da-da-da. But,
Or maybe you cut Mystical Tutor because that doesn't find you those equipments.
yeah.
You're still cutting a tutor in that case, and Mystical Tutor is a few bucks, right? So
Yes,
maybe
so-
you're going to save yourself a little bit of money there. 42 unique cards in this list compared to the stock list on EDHREC.com.
Nice.
So it gained a ton of spicy because of that. Punch it all in. Beep, boop, 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 boop. 36 on the spicy meter.
It's not very good.
It's not super good, but if you did cut that Mystical Tutor, your spicy is going to go up to 38 only. If you cut all the tutors like I had originally thought, if you cut all the tutors except 1, because the spicy formula lets you play 1 tutor, 59.
That's not too bad.
That's getting good.
That's where you like to live.
Yeah, because there's so many cards that are unique to this deck specifically as a control deck instead of a Tibor and Lumina stock list.
Nice.
I like it.
I dig that.
That's the deck.
That's how to play the deck.
Yeah, that too. Give it a check out on our Tapped Out page. Brando will quickly go over some of the social media coordinates. Big shout out to Achachachia for the list and the patronage, the patronosity we call it.
Correct.
And final thoughts of the day.
Final thoughts of the day. We already told you about this deck and this list and how much kind of interesting stuff you're going to get out of it. You're either going to get blown out because you're playing garbage, or you are going to wow every one of your friends with how much amazing stuff that you can do by playing hot garbage. Not the most exciting deck for Ryan to build, which leads me into something that we should have touched on earlier, but I'll tell you now, tease it up for the next episode. This ARC's giveaway. For this giveaway to enter, obviously patronage gets you some entries, but for everybody out there, everybody can enter. All you got to do is share our Facebook page. Just help us expand CCO Nation. Help us get out there. You'll be entered into a draw. We haven't quite decided the number of cards yet, or particularly the cards that will be in it, but since this is the Arc of Opposition, it's going to be the giveaway of Opposition, where we are going to give you guys a package of cards that we hate. Those cards that hit the table and we go, God damn it, are you kidding me? Damn it, there's going to be a Narset, because I hate Narset, but I'm not sure what else is going to be in there. But we're going to have the list quasi together, and we'll get part of it out to you on the next episode of Commander Cookout Podcast. Hit our theme song!